Hey guys, hope you're doing well today. And my team and I talk to buyers and sellers in Charlotte every single week, and there's just this weird feeling that's taking place right now where people are feeling stuck on both the buy side and on the sale side. So, people are not really rushing, they're not really panicking, they're just, in my opinion, everyone just kind of paused. And it almost feels like there's this tug of war between buyers and sellers, almost like there's this arm wrestling match and a standoff taking place between both of those parties. And for a lot of people, rates aren't moving enough to create any kind of urgency. Home prices aren't falling enough to create any kind of market confidence. And at times, the headlines that people are reading just don't match what people out here are feeling on a local level. So today I want to give you some honest thoughts if you're thinking about buying a house in 2026. And if you're a seller, some things that you have to pay attention to if you're thinking about selling your house in 2026 as well, guys. Just some weird dynamics taking place. I think we're going to be shifting, but I want to give you my honest take of where I see this right now as we're heading in towards the spring market. So buyers, let's start with you. As you are a buyer out there looking to buy a home, affordability right now matters more than anything, and this is nothing new that we haven't talked about in the last couple of years. Affordability is the big issue. Yes, rates have improved slightly. And speaking of interest rates, let me show you kind of where we're at right now. So on a 30-year fixed interest rate, we are sitting at 6.16%. Now, that is actually very, very good because at one time, as you may recall, we were at 8%. So we have come down a lot over the last couple of years, but that number for a lot of people is still higher with home prices, of course, appreciating over the last 2 years. Still a little bit too high for people, and I totally get it. Totally makes sense. But not only that, inventory is up, but it's still not back to where we were in those pre-pandemic levels. Now, let me show you what's kind of happening in Charlotte right now with inventory. As we sit here today, year over year, inventory was up 15.8%. We currently sit with 9,985 houses on the market. But what I want you to pay attention to is this right here. If we go back and look at July of 2025, we had 12,661 houses currently on the market. And as I just told you, right now in December, we have 9,985. I'm shooting this video at the end of January. January's numbers aren't out yet, but pay attention to this because this is key. The inventory levels from July have gone from 12,661 down to 9,985. We have to pay attention to that because, as I had just mentioned, some of the headlines out there are talking about inventory. It is very, very different across the country depending on where you're seeing those headlines from. So as I'll talk about this in the next session when I get to sellers, we are seeing sellers just taking their houses off the market. And there are reasons for that, right? So even though there are more inventory out there, it appears to be that the buyers are just becoming a little bit more picky, which is rightfully so. If you're going to be spending this kind of money on a home, maybe a lot of people are thinking, I am just going to wait and see what comes on the market as we get closer to the spring. So maybe they're just holding out for a little bit better of a deal or a little bit better of a home. I know we've talked to a lot of buyers that have their eyes on a couple houses, but they just don't check off all of the boxes. So they're going to wait and see what happens when we get into the spring market. So home prices, thankfully, home prices have started to stabilize in the Charlotte market right now. I will show you this. The median home price sits at $400,000. And as you can see, over the last 3 months, that has stayed at $400,000, which is a really good sign. It does show us that year over year, home prices have gone up 3.9%. That number, in my opinion, is going to come down as we head into the next few months. The market has been very, very slow. And I think we're going to probably see that number closer to a 2% appreciation year over year as we head into the February, March numbers. And then I kind of start to see maybe, I wouldn't say a ramp up in home price appreciation at all, but I don't think we're going to see it become negative. If we do, it'll be a very low negative number. But speaking of home sales, guys, just to put this into perspective for you, check this out. 2025 home sales we're at the lowest level that they have been since 1995, right? As you know, massively sellers are taking their houses off the market and waiting for spring, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But we saw the lowest levels of home sales since 1995, which tells me that they can only increase as we head into 2026. So anyway, guys, if you're liking this kind of content I'm giving out to you, please do me a huge favor. Number one, like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. I really would appreciate that. And if you would do me another favor, drop in the comments below. If you're a buyer, let me know what the number one thing is that's holding you back. And as we get to the seller section next, if you're a seller, let me know what kind of challenges you're experiencing if you have your house currently on the market. So here we go, my sellers out there, please listen to me very carefully. Some of you are still anchored to 2021 pricing. What do I mean by that? I mean that you are still thinking that you're going to get top dollar for your home. Now, obviously, as a seller, you want to get the most out of your equity when you go to sell your home. But as we talked about, buyers right now are more pickier than ever, right? So you have to be priced right in this market, and your house has to be more presentable than ever before. So the days on the market right now are surging, right? And that's a direct reflection of what buyers are saying. And they're saying, I'm not willing to pay that much for a property right now. So let's take a look at days on the market, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Right now, we are sitting at 60 days on the market. That's an increase of 20% year over year. But let's go back to July. July, we sat at 43 days on the market. And as I just mentioned, we are all the way up to 60. And again, I don't think this number is really going to change a whole lot. If anything, it's going to probably go up. And because days on the market is increasing, so are price reductions. We are seeing this happen every single day. Sellers are decreasing their price in order to get it sold. And unfortunately, sellers, you are losing leverage when you do that. Obviously, I know you have to reduce the price if you want to get it sold. There are other strategies that could take place to maybe offer some different types of things for a buyer versus a price reduction. But again, you have to be priced right from the start. So in this market right now, because days on the market is staying longer, buyers are demanding seller concessions. Always. We are seeing a ton of offers come in where buyers are asking for sellers to pay concessions. Now that, of course, never used to be the thing back in 21 because people were just buying homes within a day, right? So expect to get an offer asking for seller concessions to help pay for some of those buyers' closing costs or to buy their interest rate down. So also be prepared to get less than your listing price. So let's check this out here. The percent of list price received sits at 94.3% right now. It's down almost 1% year over year. So what this really means is if you have your house on the market for $100,000, you can expect to get $94,300 for your property. That is on an average. And if I do take you back to the months of, let's just go back to June. June was at 96.5. Now we're down to 94.3. Again, I do see this number continuing to trickle down a little bit. We'll have to see what happens in the spring market. All right. So also sellers, here's the other side of the coin. You are competing with new construction. And check out this headline that came out this week. New home sales or new home prices fall to 4-year lows as builders deepen their discounts. Now, why this is super important for you is that these builders have deep pockets, and they are not only reducing the price of their houses, but they are offering super crazy incentives, giving buyers $20,000 in closing costs, throwing in, washer, dryer, fridge, everything you can imagine to get their product sold. And as I mentioned, new home sales right now actually are less than most existing homes. So you are directly competing with that new construction. And I've already talked about this already, but I'm going to mention it again. As we saw those inventory numbers decreasing, it's because a lot of sellers right now are pulling their houses off the market. They are frustrated. They've been on the market 90 days, 180 days, they're not getting a whole lot of showing activity. They're getting lowball offers. They are just exhausted, right? They're frustrated, they're exhausted, and the mentality for a lot of sellers is, I'm just going to take it off the market and wait until the spring. And we saw a lot of properties being delisted in November and December. So just wanted to give you guys my final thoughts on what I'm thinking out there and seeing in the market. But as far as my thoughts for the future, right? Keep this in mind. Charlotte overall is a very healthy market compared to a lot of other markets across the country. The job market here is strong. In fact, check this out. 157 people a day are moving to the Charlotte region. That is absolutely crazy. Now, only about probably maybe a year ago, that number sat at 128 people a day. So more people are moving into the area, which is why I'm saying the overall market here in Charlotte is very, very strong. So as we head towards the spring market, my prediction here is we're going to see a little bit of improvement. As I just showed you, home sales in 1995 were the lowest they've been. I'm sorry, home sales in 2025 were the lowest that they've been since 1995. I see that as the floor. I see improvement, especially if we can get interest rates down below 6%. I think that is really the trigger. As I've mentioned in another video previously, we've got this whole mortgage-backed security purchase that's supposed to be happening of this $200 billion. That is going to probably create a dip in interest rates for a short period of time. Maybe if rates come down to 5.5%, some people will be making moves, but I think we are heading in the upward direction this year, but we'll have to see. Not a big, huge swing, but I do see some improvement. So guys, anyway, that's what I got for you today. If you need my team and my if you need my help and my team's help in your home search, that's what I meant to say. All my contact information is right there on the screen. And again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with any of your final thoughts. I would love to hear from you. So guys, that's what I got for you today. Hope you have a great one, and I'll catch you in the next video.